Hello, everybody. How are you? It's Mike Kett here, forged by the fire. This is Mind, Body, Bank Account, and we are at episode number 15. Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, I have such an incredible guest tonight. I can't wait to get her on the show. You're going to be blown away by some of the information you're going to hear tonight and just the power. And it's something that everybody needs to hear, and I believe that it's information that everyone can use to make those breakthroughs in life, so that you can start living the life that you really need, right? Because we all need a better life. We all want more out of this life. And if you don't, great. If you've reached your pinnacle of happiness, absolutely incredible. I mean, I couldn't wish for anything more. But if you are looking for more, if you're looking for a better relationship, a better personal life, a better business life, this show is going to give you some tools and tips on how to get those breakthroughs to push you to the next level. So I am just absolutely blown away by the power of the guest that I have coming on. She's a mom of 3 boys. She is a true survivor. She's a survivor of multiple traumas that likely would take the wind out of the sails of most people out there. She is a rape survivor. She is an abuse survivor. She is a cancer survivor. She is a severe depression survivor. And I don't use that word survivor lightly. I mean, true, not just a survivor. She has excelled after using some of those negatives in her life to push her on to greatness. And she's teaching other people how to realize that greatness as well. She's a happiness and resilience trainer, author, speaker, coach, and facilitator who's spoken to over 500,000 people and coached and mentored over 1,000 people to create happiness in their life. So, how can someone who's 19 build a 6-figure income? And how can someone in their 20s build a multi-million-dollar business as a single mother? Let me bring on Hailey. And she's going to talk to us about just that. How to build a positive mental attitude and how to learn from and overcome adversity and what looks like defeat at the outset. Hailey, thank you so much for taking your time out on this evening to join us.
Mike, thank you so much for having me on your show. What a huge, huge honor to be able to share the virtual screen together and show people that no matter what we've been through before and no matter what they've been through in the past, the future can really be amazing. So before we get into it, I just want to tell the world that's watching a little bit about who you are. So folks, if you are a friend of mine and you don't yet know Mike, well, he's a friend of mine, so he should be a friend of yours. And I'm going to suggest that you guys who are tuning in, that you send Mike Kett a friend request, that you search him up on Facebook, and that you reach out to him for a few reasons. One, he's a man that left home at 15, was literally homeless, and now is living the kind of life that we all want to live, which is to have happiness, to have love, to have family, to have purpose and passion. And he's also putting on this show as a platform to inspire people. So I would reach out to him if I were you, if A, you have a story to share, or B, you want to learn how he's done what he's done in his life, or C, if you want to be on his contact list when he's ready to roll out his future programs like workshops, coaching, mentorship for men. And I'm really excited about all the things that are going to be coming out from Mike down the line. So make sure you guys stay connected with him. He really is a gem of a human being, and I'm excited to be doing this with you tonight, Mike.
Wow. Everybody say hello to my new manager in business, Hailey Patry. Thank you so much. That was awesome. I really appreciate that, Hailey.
No royalties. Free manager. Free
That's awesome. So, Hailey, I mean, I know a little bit about your story and where you came from, but just so that our guests can get a feel for, what your background is prior to you being on this mission to help others. Share with us what's your give me your Cole's notes of your story.
The short version of the long story, I grew up in a household where things were challenging. There were some mental wellness challenges, and it was not an easy childhood, to say the least. I love my parents dearly, but things just weren't all right in the house all the time. So by the age of 8, I started to battle with depression and eating disorders. At the age of 16, I tried to take my life twice, and the second time especially was very close. Clearly, I wasn't meant to go. I was supposed to still be here in this world and sharing possibility with others. At 17, I was violently raped, and that led to cervical cancer, multiple reproductive surgeries, and I'm just so grateful and blessed that I work, my body works. It's really a miracle that I'm a mom of 3 boys, and oddly enough, I started coaching 3 weeks after the rape.
Wow.
So I'm very clear that trauma chose me in my life so that I could first experience things, learn how to come out the other side, and then grab everyone I possibly could grab and help them come out the other side of their trauma. So I started running my first group coaching circle in my last year of high school. And that was 21 years ago. I was a not good enough girl, a self-esteem, body image, insecurities, all of that. And with that, my first marriage was not a safe place for my son and I. So when I was 26, I had my first little one. When I was 27, when he was 10 months old, we left for our safety, and I became a single mom, inherited 6 figures of debt from my ex-husband, and I started another business because I think part of resiliency is learning how we reinvent ourselves as often as we need to over and over again. So when I became a single mom who paid off all that debt, people started asking me to come out and speak around Canada and the US and share how I did it. And one of those crowds that was in the audience, I said, "Who wants to borrow my 3-year-old for the weekend?" No one put their hand up. There was a guy in the back row who shouted out, "Hey, if you're there, I'll be there." And we've been married, and we've been together for 8 years.
Wow.
And he has adopted my first son and made me 2 more beautiful boys. You can see them somewhere behind me there.
Yep, there they are.
So life was really crappy for the first 30 years, and it's been abundantly awesome for the last 8. And my heart, it just wants anything good in my life. I just want that for everyone too. I want that for everyone else. If someone's life is loveless, I want them to have the kind of abundant marriage that I have. If somebody's in struggle with their personal demons, be it self-image, body image, depression, anxiety, I want them to have calm and resiliency and happiness like I do. So I just want to show people that it doesn't have to be that hard, and transformation can happen rather quickly. So it's a little bit of the dark side there.
That's incredible. It's quite the story. I mean, at 17, most people don't have their stuff together enough to, work at Tim Hortons, let alone start a business and start speaking on something so powerful. I mean, touching on your story growing up, I was going to ask, what prepared you to be able to bounce back and be so resilient so quickly? I mean, is that something that you just...
I think there was a switch, right? Up until 16, dealing with the depression and suicide and self-harming, I hadn't yet made that decision that I was bigger than my problems and that I was going to overcome things. So I would succumb to the effect of everything. But at 17, after the attack, I made the decision that these things were going to make me. They were not going to break me. And I wasn't going to let the pain be for no reason. I figured trauma was going to use me for the greater good. And so I had to turn my life into something worthy of going through all that crap. I had to make those things more meaningful than just wrong place, wrong time, bad luck. Why did bad things happen to good people? I really started to look at the events happening to me as the university course on how to be a great coach. Well, you're going to have to go through it and figure it out, and then get more efficient in what you figure out, and then show people how to do it and be the tour guide for people in this game of life. So I think the first step to getting over the really hard things, because you and I have both been through a lot, is the decision that we're going to. That's a key difference between someone who's stuck in the black hole of depression versus someone who says, I'm going to claw my way out, even if I break all my nails, and they're nice nails. I'm going to claw my way out. I'm going to seek out mentorship. I'm going to read the books. I'm going to watch the shows. I'm going to listen to the podcasts. I'm going to talk to friends who have overcome. It's that decision to say, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get over that. That's the seed of where resiliency is born.
Right. Drawing that line in the sand, definitiveness of purpose, just making that decision that, you're going to not take it anymore and find the seed of opportunity in that tragedy. Wow.
I call it finding the blessings in the mess.
Yeah.
I think that trauma can be a gift. It's not a gift when it's happening, but we do receive gifts. You and I were talking earlier how you look at trauma like forging your greatness in fire. And I see it like the grindstone that's shaping the Michelangelo. We have to go through the grind to come out the other side stronger, better people, really.
Yep. Wow. I mean, and this, I don't know if it's just that I'm more in tune. I'm hearing more stories about resiliency and people who've been through, devastating events, but it just seems that nowadays there are more and more, I'm hearing of more and more suicides. I'm hearing of more and more, just mental health issues in general. Marriages breaking down so quickly. It's just,
you know what's missing, Mike? You know what's missing? What's missing is a future for people to live into. People often ask me, what do you do when someone's suicidal? How do you coach that person? How do you turn off the wish to die and then turn on the desire to thrive and the willingness to go on? I spoke to a gentleman when I was 16, and he said to me, this is a tool I share with all my clients. He said, Hailey, and if you're this person watching right now who's actually considering not sticking around, I suggest you do this same homework. It's to do a 2-line chart. And on one side, it's all the pain you're going to get to escape if you go. And on the other side is the future you're going to miss out on. Now, for me at the age of 16, there was a big list of things I could escape if I went. Right. It was a very hard existence. However, the list of what I would miss out on was so much bigger. And I needed to start tapping into that part of my mind, my mind's eye, and be able to have a vision for the future, something worth living for, something worth living into, something worth getting better for. I always knew I wanted to get married. I always knew I wanted to have a life in my belly. Right. Always knew I wanted to raise children in a different way than I was raised. I knew I wanted to make a difference, and I would miss out on all those things if I were to leave. So I think that's what's missing. Marriages, couples haven't created a vision for who they could be when their relationship is fulfilled. Something juicy enough that's worth fighting for, that's worth putting in the work for.
Right.
And that's why people quit, because they can't see past the crap. They can't see what's on the other side.
Yeah. It's like when we talk about what's your why? Is your why strong enough to keep going after what it is you're going after? Yeah, boy.
And people have a why in their business. It's funny, if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, you've probably been to a workshop or 100 of them, and you've been trained that your why, your reason, your motivation has to be big enough that it makes you emotional. But no one's teaching you that you need to have a why or a manifesto for your life, and a why or a mission or a manifesto for your relationship. So I wish I could take my phone over to where our marriage mission statement lives on the wall. I wish I could show you all of those things, because that's missing for people. And I think that when you put it in, then we'll have that same drive. When people grind to build a business, they go to insane lengths just to get by. But we don't do that in our life, and we don't do that in our marriages.
So true. So true. I mean, you hear the stories of incredibly financially successful folks that when the business mask comes off, their home life can be just in shambles. If they don't know their children, or their wife's about to leave them, or their significant, it's really, it needs to be you need to have that rounded life, right? I mean,
and I think that's That's one of the things that I'm most proud of in my coaching business is being able to actually host people in our home, being able to run workshops and retreats and even private sessions here where people have the opportunity to meet the family that we have and to let my life be an example of what's possible.
Right.
And it's sad to me how many healthcare professionals aren't actually happy in their own personal lives. And I really take that responsibility seriously, that if I'm going to guide you in your marriage, my marriage better be awesome. And if I'm going to guide you with my children, my relationship with my children better be pretty awesome.
Heck yeah. Right. I mean, it's like when I go to talk to someone about handling my money, I kind of want to see that you're doing fairly well with yours. Right. I
Yes.
mean, yeah, leading by example. And so you do most of your coaching out of the home. Is that right?
I do a few different things. So for my online students, we've got about 15,000 students in 134 countries. So we support them virtually. For my local clients, that's anything within a few hours drive of Oakville, Ontario, Canada.
Woohoo!
I like to see them face to face, bump energy, give real hugs, look actually into their eyes.
Yes.
And I actually have clients that will fly in for our session work and our workshops. But certainly it's possible to support people either in their home, in our home office, or at their business location. Sometimes you have to coach a corporate person at 7 a.m. before they go up to their desk or on their lunch break. And I'm a whatever it takes kind of person.
Hey, that's all. Well, it sounds like you've done whatever it takes and you've achieved some pretty incredible things. And so talk to me now. Everyone talks about mindset. It's a great buzzword. But when we're talking about building a positive mental attitude to get through some of these, and it's not always going to be the massive adversities that hit people every day. It's little things. It's little things that are constantly getting in your way when you're on the road to something great. First of all, how the heck did you come out the other side with a positive mental attitude after some of the adversity you've been through? And what would you say, what would be your number one coaching technique that you would tell someone else about how to develop that positive mental attitude if they don't have it already?
Oh my gosh, choosing one, that's going to be, that's the challenge. Some of the techniques that I used, Mike, and they were not taught to me, they just sort of happened to me. And
Right.
Now I teach them the body of work. One of the techniques that I use, I call the gift of perspective. I remember when I was going through my recovery from the attack, and I mean, this was horrible. This was surgeries. This was quite a violent event. I just remember, as horrible as it was, searching really deep to find the gratitude. And I remember after everything was over, realizing I still have a pulse. So that's a good place to start. And there was one guy, and I know that there are other women probably on the same day, the same age as me, where it was a group of guys. And I was fortunate that I was going to be able to stumble my way to get help. And I knew that there were other women that happened to, and they weren't going to be able to. So I don't know how it happened, but it did. And now that's what I teach people is no matter how ugly the situation is, if we look really hard, there's always something to be grateful for. It could always be worse. And there are people that live with worse and they come back. So I just believe that nothing happens to us that we can't get through. And I do believe that we're chosen for what we go through. So we have an opportunity to get stronger and then make the world ultimately better for other people. So perspective is one of them. Another one is what I would call perpetrator's compassion. So I'm sure you know some people in your life that you might not want to meet again.
I do.
And yeah, maybe they weren't so nice to you. I think you and I both have a few people like that we can recall.
Sure.
When I think about someone who's an abuser, I think about what must have happened to them in their childhood, in their life, that they ended up that way.
Right.
And it doesn't make it any better for the person who's endured the trauma, but it definitely lightens the burden of resentment. It gives you more access to forgiveness. It helps your heart turn light about the situation a lot faster when you can look at the person that hurt you and say, well, I guess I was feeling sorry for me because of what they did, but I'm actually feeling more sorry for them because I can't even imagine what their life must have been like. And those of us that have been the victim of trauma, we have the opportunity to then heal and get over it.
Right.
But the person who perpetrates trauma, that's who they are. And they have to live with that for their lives. So I think we're actually on the lucky side when we're the one who got hurt. I think it's harder to be the one who did the hurting. So compassion.
That's an incredible way to look at that situation. I mean, wow. How...
So I know it's crazy. So perspective is one strategy. Compassion is another. And compassion is access to forgiveness. But I think the biggest strategy, and you and I both have lived our lives this way, is noticing that you do get superpowers and personality attributes and gifts when you go through shitty shit. Yep. Sorry for the shit.
That's okay.
And so
we're all about overcoming and getting through the shit, right, and getting stronger on the other side. So
if we know that from past experience, that some of the bad things we went through, which were awful at the time, if we know looking back they made us better humans, then when the next bad thing happens, we're able to look at it with this sense of trust. Yeah, I know it sucks. It's going to be over soon. And on the other side, life's going to get better. I'm going to get better.
Right.
So I think trusting our own resiliency from learning from past adverse events helps it to be easier when we go through future adverse events, because we're all going to have some.
Yep. Wow. You're a good person, because when you're telling me, I need some coaching on how to handle my emotions. I know this because while I'm sitting here listening to you and what happened to you, I'm raging inside of me because I'm a man with a young daughter, and it burns me to my core that someone can do that to another human being. Now, when you put this twist on it and say we need to feel sorry for them.
Yeah, and like really, if you and I were to picture, Mike, we both have kids, and so we couldn't ever fathom hurting a child, and I think both of us were children that had some challenging things happen to us. But if I think of it, there's one man who brought a lot of challenge in my life. That man was subject to a year of electric shock therapy when he was a teenager. So wow. I can understand why he was the way he was. Some of the people who've brought pain into my life have battled addiction or have been raised by parents who were battling addiction, and they were exposed to role modeling that wasn't ideal. Their own self-worth and self-esteem wasn't ideal. And so they don't really know where their compass points. And, I'm not saying it makes it okay or makes the events better, but it lightens the anger. And I think part of how we take on a more positive mental attitude, first step is that we want to. We make the decision that we want to go up and we want to go forward from what we're going through. Harboring the resentment and the anger keeps us stuck in the past. So we do need to learn forgiveness. I know it's not a sexy topic, but it's important.
Absolutely.
Some of the other strategies are choosing what we put into our mental daily diet. So I'm really careful about what I put in my mouth, but I'm also really careful now about what I put into my ears and what I put in front of my eyes. So I think if someone's going through a hard time and they're listening to all sad songs and talking to negative friends and they're not putting with intention positivity in, that's very different than someone who's going through a bad time who says, what do I need to listen to? Who should I talk to? What should I be watching? Cleaning the negativity out of our life helps us to move forward as well.
Right.
Oh, and one more. Sorry, I forgot. Search for proof that it's possible.
Yeah. Here it is. Here you are.
And here you are. I don't know if you have friends that are always looking on the negative side, telling you what could go wrong, telling you about this person who's in this train wreck and this disaster. Search for proof that recovery is possible, transformation is possible. And that's why you're such an angel for doing this show, because you're showing people that even if the past had a lot of ugly in it, the future can still be beautiful.
Yes. Yes, it can.
Scars and all.
Yeah.
Scars and all.
That's right. That's the battle scars. I mean, there's reasons why warriors put marks on their bodies and on their, it's to show that they've been through it, and you come out tougher, right? Man, I just, you know, the whole idea of this show is to help people make breakthroughs in their life, right?
Yeah.
And just knowing, like you said, that there is proof, watching someone, watching, you know, and learning from people who've been through similar issues and knowing that they made it on the other side. It's like being able to have someone else have faith in you before you have faith in yourself. You know, you can use that as a virtual mentor, you know, even if you don't know the person, if you just know their story.
It's like what you said earlier. You want to see integrity in your mentor. So if you're going to hire a personal trainer, you want to work with someone who's gone through a body transformation,
right?
Because they're proof that it's possible. If you want happiness, you want to work with somebody who's come from depression and unhappiness and now has it authentically. And if you want love in your life, then you want to talk to people like us who have experienced every kind of heartache and disappointment and then figured it out. But I think there's one area we haven't covered yet, which is, you know, one of the important things for healing and getting better and having that positive mental attitude is understanding that there are many parts of our mind. So there's our conscious mental awareness, the part of our brain we know we have, we know what's in there. You know, you either know you're an A-type or you know that you're shy. But then our subconscious mind, and that's an area where I think you and I can really help a lot of people, is tapping into that part that's in your blind spot where maybe the things that are happening in your life aren't so random and aren't so coincidental. Mm-hmm. If you're in a pattern, so if you've been cheated on and it's the 4th time, or abandoned and it's the 5th time, or you always get screwed over, or you always get left out, if your life has an always story, then probably one of the strategies to use is go in here into the deeper part and figure out what are the negative, crappy little beliefs that we hold about ourselves and the world that just aren't true.
Right.
And then transform those beliefs. Simple one, for example, is the I'm not good enough versus I am enough. I am more than enough.
Right. Right.
And you got to do some spring.
Yeah, because it's that talk that you put in your head. I mean, your subconscious doesn't differentiate between whether it's good stuff or bad stuff. It just hears black and white, you know, treated bad, nobody likes me, I'm always having problems. The universe says, hey, this guy's talking about negativity and bad stuff, so I guess that's what he wants. Bam, there you go. So we got to flip the script on how we think about things and what we feed our minds. But I wanted to talk about your authenticity. I loved what you said there, because I said, you know, when I go to the bank with money, I want to know that that guy or that girl has done something great with their money when I hand it over. And I'm talking to you before the show. We were talking about, you know, what gives someone the right to be able to coach or speak on a subject. And you're asking me, hey, is this something that you want to do? And of course I do. But I feel like sometimes I don't have the goods. I said, maybe I should have some, right?
Cancel,
and that's what I'm getting at. But what I'm also saying, what I'm also saying is that I got the goods. I've been there. I've done it. So it's not like you need a diploma that says I have learned how to tell people how to fix themselves. You and I can show them.
We all go through, as coaches and mentors and guides, we all go through this self-assessment where we say, am I good enough? Am I qualified enough? Am I schooled enough? Now, here's the thing. I just have to tell you, out of thousands of people in 21 years, 2 people asked me what my certifications were. 2.
Yep.
And it wasn't even the people. One of them, it was their father.
Yeah.
And one of them, it was on behalf of a friend. So here's what I found, and I hope that this helps you to release your programs sooner, because you could be such a gift to people. What I found is that what people want is results. And I don't even mention what my certifications are. There are several, but they're not even relevant. What my clients want to know is, how did you fix her in 9 hours? Or better yet, how did you teach her how to fix herself in 9 hours? How did you help that couple rewrite their marriage in 5 hours? They want to know the how. They want the tools. And so if somebody wants more credentials, then that's just not your people.
Yep.
The people that you're going to attract are the ones that say, I don't care where you went to school, how many years you were in school, show me how to have a life like yours, and I'll pay attention and I'll do the homework, and I want the results you have. And those are your people. So it only comes up in our mind. It very rarely comes up for a client. And Mike, I'll tell you this, the thing that warms my heart the most is when I can help someone who's been in traditional therapy modalities for 3 years or more.
Right.
And they aren't where they want to be on their healing journey. And I spend 9 hours with them, and then they are. And so I don't think it becomes a matter of certification. I think one of the gifts people like you and I and all of our awesome friends can give is we can actually lay the cards out on the table. And we can look someone in the eye and say, I remember what it was like when I was in your exact same spot.
Yes.
And here's how I got me out, and here's how we're going to get you out. And I promise this works, because I'm living proof of it. And it's not from a textbook. It's from actual in the trenches experience. And that is worth its weight in gold. It's priceless.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. It's awesome. Wow. Hailey, I mean, we could continue this conversation for hours, and I would love to. You have shared some incredible information with us, and I just hope that the people who are watching, finds that little nugget of gold in the words shared tonight, so that they can make some breakthroughs, or maybe they know somebody else, right, who's struggling. So share the video, guys. If you're watching now, sharing is caring. Share it as much as you possibly can, right? Because you don't really know whose life you could be impacting by allowing somebody to listen to Hailey, right?
Can we give them one last technique?
Definitely, of course.
So one of my favorite strategies that I created when I was 17, it partly was to stop having the nightmares. So if anybody watching is a trauma survivor, then post-traumatic stress is one thing, but even if that's not diagnosed, the nightmares, the night terrors, the flashbacks. So if what we focus on expands, and if we get more of what we think about, and we only remember to do positive thinking when we're at red lights, it's not going to work that much. So this is a technique called dream casting. And how it works, when you get in bed tonight, and when you get in bed every night, take all the things that are cluttering your mind, your to-do list, who you have to call tomorrow, stuff you have to remember, turn the coffee maker on, whatever the random things are that are taking up your operating space, write those on a notepad. Do your bedtime routine, brush your teeth, get in your jammies, get in your comfy spot, turn the lights off, and before you shut your eyes, turn on that part of your mind that can see the future. That part of your mind that can go back to like when you were a small child and you had a wild imagination, and you could picture what would it look like when it's good, when it's better, when it's easier, when it's happier, when you're greater, when you're making a bigger difference. And there's 2 ways you can play with your mind's eye. One is to picture the in-body experience. So what's it going to be like to play virtual reality when you are at your happiest? What will all of your senses experience? What will you see? What will you hear, smell, taste, and touch? The other perspective, if that one is hard for you to picture, is the movie theater example. So picture you're at Silver City, you're in the comfy seats, you're leaning back, you have your popcorn, and the movie is called You 2.0. And you're sitting in the seat watching you up on the big screen, you and your lover, you and your happy kids, you and your thriving company of people that you empower, you and the audiences that are applauding for you. Whatever it is that you want to see for you, watch what you look like when you're happy, purposeful, resilient, and fulfilled. And then let your eyes close when you're in the daydream. And if you're lucky, you'll bring this over into your dream state. And I think you'll have a better night's sleep less nightmares. And the most important piece, make a promise with yourself before you close your eyes and fall asleep that when you wake up tomorrow, you will say yes to all opportunities and action steps that will move you in the direction of that which you want for yourself. And we can combine the power of the woo-woo manifesting with real life elbow grease action.
Right.
And you can just make it happen. Like starting tonight, starting tomorrow, make more stuff happen.
I'm going to bed now. That's awesome, though. You're so right, though. Like, I'm glad you said, you know, the woo-woo manifest. Like, a lot of people aren't down with the whole, you know, attestations in front of the mirror, the whole mental part, even though it's so damn powerful.
And it's not even woo-woo. It's
no.
quantum physics. It's real
It's
science.
real stuff.
It's proven.
Yeah. But we got to put in the elbow grease, too, right? I mean, you have to have action to go along with that.
Yes. So one funny example, I teach a workshop called Manifest for people who are single and that's pissing them off and they want a partner. So in that workshop, it's not just that we do all the woo-woo of designing your right partner, your right relationship. It's what are we doing to hack your singles game? How are you networking differently?
Right.
Who are you actually messaging with your profile? Is your profile correct? We have to do the real world application as well if we want to expedite our results. And I think that is what I'd love for my last message here to be is everyone has the opportunity to expedite, which means speed up whatever you want for yourself, your results, your impact, your happiness, your recovery, your transformation. It's just a choice, and then seek out the help and then do the things that it's going to take to make it happen.
Awesome. Hailey, thank you so much. So overcome the obstacles with resiliency, have a positive mental attitude, and expedite that success.
Yes.
Awesome.
Now your show is also about health, right? So here's what's for dinner. Hold on.
What do you got?
Wait. There we go.
That looks pretty good. Now I'm hungry too. I haven't eaten yet.
Mike, thank you so much for having this chance to just hang out with you. We live close enough. We've got to go for tea and just help more people together. And I think so many men and women can be helped by men or women. But I think it's really powerful for a man who feels broken or feels like he's the product of his past to meet with someone like you who's become unbroken and to just, again, see that proof that we can reinvent ourselves. So I think you and I together have to do a little bit of a men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We're going to have to tag team on something.
I think we have to, right? I mean, when you're on the right path, people, places, and things come into your life. So you talked about when you wake up, embracing the opportunities that come your way. I'm going to embrace it. Hailey, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, you take care. Have yourself a great night. And until we see each other again, keep changing people's lives, Hailey. Thank you. Thank you. Have yourself a wonderful night. Bye-bye. Oh, wow. So, guys, I mean, I gave a bit of an intro. I still don't think I did any justice for sharing with you exactly what Hailey has done in her life. She's clearly very humble. But where she has come from and what she has done is nothing short of monumental. So please watch the comments below. Hailey's going to post her information, how you can get a hold of her, workshops coming up, all the good stuff so that you can learn how to create the best life for you and how you can live the happiest version of you as well in your relationships, in your business, and in your personal life. Seek her out. She's a dynamo. Let's make your life better, right? That's what it's all about. So that, my friends, was episode number 15. And you can get us. I mean, I know I'm a little slow to the punch here, right? But I'm new. I'm starting. I'm just doing this. But this is all going to be available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play as a podcast. So hang tight. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it all accessible. But make sure that you stay tuned and watch the show every Monday and Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. This Monday, coming up, Monday, February 26th, always at 7 p.m., I have a gentleman by the name of Joe Garcia going to be on the show. Joe is one heck of an entrepreneur. He comes from the network marketing area. Since 1993, he's been in the business of network marketing. He's got business in 60 plus countries. Sales of over 2 billion. This guy is doing things that most could only dream of, and he's going to share some of his success secrets with us. Mainly, do you know your end game? Do you know what you really want? Do you know what you really desire? You need to start with the end in mind. So he's going to talk about, do you know your end game? And do you know your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? Only then can you build a plan from where you are now. But we're going to talk with Joe about why you need to know what your end game is before you get started. Not before you get started, but you really need to know that. It's got to be concrete, or else how the heck are you ever going to get there? Like a roadmap. If you have a destination and you don't have a clear path on that roadmap, how can you ever get there, right? So we're going to talk with Joe about that. So knowing why you really want to get into business, why you're looking to make a better life for yourself, knowing your end game, that's what we're going to be discussing with Joe Garcia on Monday, February the 26th, episode 16. Also, look at the comments. In my comments on this video, very first comment is a link to the Toronto Women's Expo, which is happening on March the 27th. And you're going to want to catch Hailey Patry at that event. So get your free tickets on the link that I provided. But I say book the VIP. Book the VIP and book a time with Hailey for a coaching session. With the VIP, you get to rub shoulders with all the coaches. You get to ask the questions. You get to hear the real goods. It is well worth it. Trust me. Get to the event. Save the date. Whatever you got to do, just be there. It's going to push your personal, business, financial life through the roof. Breakthroughs will happen. And you'll come out of that event fired up and ready to get your feet to the street and just go do it, right? You'd be ready to rock and roll. So guys, I'm going to let you go. It's been a great Thursday night. I hope you enjoyed it. Please stay tuning in. And again, share with someone who can use the information. Rewatch Hailey's video. There's info in there that you've got to absorb a second time, and share the video with someone who can use it. All right? We're looking to change lives, everybody. Mind, body, bank account. That's what it's all about. Keep the mind open, keep the body strong, and get that bank account growing. See you guys. Have a good night.